don't know what kind of SAO nonsense that was, but when you design a horror level that is as realistic as Bofuri's game is, and you stop our poor girl Sally from logging out until she's outside that mansion, that's some cruel game design that I have to respect. Now, here's the thing, unlike a show like SAO, it's not like she was permanently trapped and couldn't log out. But when you imagine a level like this, which it's easy to look at and say, oh, that's not too spooky, it's just a little ghoul hand popping out from a doorway, and maybe you're just like Maple and that stuff doesn't faze you. But I gotta admit, I think the vast majority of people, if they were playing a video game that was as realistic that you can literally eat food and feel like you're actually consuming the food itself, just with none of the calories or baggage, a horror level that doesn't allow you to log out or probably save or anything until you're outside that area. Now, yes, most likely had Sally died in that mansion, she would have just spawned into her location and she would have been able to exit, but that is some next level haunted house escape room BS that I will not be having any part of, but this was great to follow, I have to say. Bofuri Season 2 is not missing, and I am having a blast following this. Now, I do have a full live reaction to today's episode available on my Patreon if you're interested in seeing that, so consider supporting if you do want to see it, but let's talk about Bofuri Season 2, Episode 2. We don't get introduced to one, but two brand new levels, and it's kind of hilarious to see that Maple, because she had a cold, she kind of got left behind. But if there's any character you can leave behind and know they're going to get to the next level, it's without a doubt our defense girl. She's going to do something to easily make everyone say, how has the game admins not banned her yet? The thing that wasn't on my bingo card was the fact that she would fight the wrong boss, and then in return she would end up getting a skill that makes her look like the final boss of this game. And I truly feel like at some point, Bofuri, late into its run, whether we see it in anime or not, the only options these game admins will have is to just say, you know what? We give up. We can't craft anything that will stump this girl. Instead, every player, this is the event date. You're going to try to defeat Maple. That's our endgame opponent boss, because they're not going to be able to design anything any better. But it's really cool because they had some fun with the comedy, like she parties up and, you have a couple of goofy moments, they charge in, they can't do much, and our girl just flattens it like a pancake and says thanks for your help and then casually goes to the next level. And the thing that I really like about Bofuri's game system is not just the fact that the mechanics seem video game-like, it actually feels like someone who understands MMORPGs, but most importantly, the levels feel very distinct. So we are in this kind of like soccer pedal, beautiful forest, kind of like, I don't know, just a very, very beautiful Japan-like setting for this floor. The one we go up to next, it's a cloud area, right? So honestly, we see our girl eating the clouds like it's cotton candy. We also see her being a bit of a menace where she uses her serpents to poison the cloud to rain poison water on the poor little guys running. And honestly, while it wasn't the most visually striking level by any means, in fact, if I was to rank it between like the soccer pedal Japan setting, the clouds, or the haunted area, I would put the clouds as my least favorite. But the thing that makes me appreciate it is that Bofuri knows how to spice up its formula, both visually but also with the game mechanics for the setting. While the boss that apparently had this lightning attack that wiped our poor little hammer girls away didn't last too long, but you can see how they're having fun with the mechanics. And I mean, it was fun trying to guess where they were going to go next. My initial thought process was, oh, they'll go down to hell. If we're at basically like a sky area, the next location would be hell. But then I was like, oh wait, no, episode 1 of this season already showed him in like a volcanic area, so most importantly it would have to be a horror episode, or like a horror level, and I was really happy to see what they did, because you have to imagine, right? It's easy to look at a lot of this stuff and say, oh, that's not too spooky, or yeah, that's a little weird, but we could easily deal with that. This is to them, this is all first person. This is stuff that has the touch, sensations, all of our sensations are there. And I just felt bad for Sally. I mean, I'm someone who's pretty good with horror. I'm not someone who gets spooked as easily as, I don't jump at every sound or nook and cranny, but I mean, if I played something with this much realism and I logged out and I was home alone and I heard some water in the distance, yeah, I'd probably be a little scared. I'm not gonna lie, it would probably get to your sensations. And honestly, with the way the world is anymore and how everyone tries to sue everyone, imagining a game like this that was this real and this, your sensations were screwed with to this degree, how many groups would try to sue a game because oh, you scared my kid so hard he fell down the stairs after he logged out or something, right? You just know there'd be some dumb groups who would try to attempt stuff like that, and the New World Online would have to shut down for some reason because they'd have to pay some stupid bills, right? But I like the fact that, for something where we've seen so many shows where they have that realistic VR, The thing that has always made Bofuri so great is that it's not trying to tell this like overly complex story of we need to beat the game to escape, or we need to do this or that because of this grand life or death mission. No, it's a bunch of people playing a game for fun, so them just casually crushing mob bosses or going exploring and eating some fun food, that's what the show is about. And if you don't like it by this point, you're probably not going to like it going forward. Yes, there's character arcs and there'll be story arcs, but the thing is they're just playing this game for fun, and it's really fun to see how the admins try to stop Maple's BS while also just making the game feel like something the video game anime we all want to play, which was kind of like my big selling point for Season 1. And what I can still say for Season 2, even if the horror level does give me the heebie-jeebies. While I may not want every anime to be like Bofuri, I do wish we had more shows that were just characters playing a video game and watching them have fun playing a video game. You can have moments where they're trying to beat an impossible quest, and that can be exciting. You can just have them casually slap a boss around that just previously slapped them around, because now you have the Throne Queen Maple who can just casually one-shot most things. And I mean, if there's ever been a character that feels like you can't beat her, it has to be Maple. They literally gave her a throne in this episode. Like, how many characters can literally stump the game admins to the point that they don't know how to balance their game to let other players still have a chance, but then also wanting to stump her? At this point, you either have two options. You ban Maple from playing, or you just accept the fact that she's going to be your final boss someday, and that everything else is all just gravy. But I like it. It's a very polished production. I really enjoy what they're doing visually. We've had a lot of interesting level design. We've had some great monster design. But honestly, I'm not sure if I'm the only one feeling it. If you watch this episode with headphones, especially during any of the action attacks, it reminds me a lot of the current Danmachi season with Season 4, because Danmachi's sound effect director is just absolutely top tier. The detail that they go in that for sound direction, it makes the action so much more compelling, and that's exactly what they're doing with Bofuri here. I was really impressed by the number of interesting sound direction techniques that they use, because alongside the really fun action, it just feels like it makes it a lot more immersive, as if we can get sucked along as if we're playing with them. Obviously not to the same degree, but good sound direction goes a long way to immerse the viewer, and this show, alongside Danmachi, has some of the best sound direction in my opinion of this anime season, and I'm loving watching this. Bofuri will never be the show that I will say is the absolute best show of the year, but what I can always say about Bofuri is if it airs, it's going to be one of the most fun shows you can watch in a year, and that's exactly what so far Season 2 has done. I would argue Episode 2 was even more fun than the first, and the first I thought was a great Christmas episode, kind of hit all the right notes in terms of what to expect from Bofuri. They're still having fun with the comedy, the character pairings, and it's just such a great living and breathing world that it's just hard not to want to see more, and to just say, I don't know which level, what monster they're gonna fight next, but hopefully in terms of this horror location, maybe we'll have some moving paintings like an eyeball that follows you across the room. It's definitely a spooky environment, and there's a lot of potential from skeletal dragons or skeleton ogres or something that they could fight. A lot of potential, and I'm liking what I'm seeing. But thoughts and feelings yourself down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new around here. Be sure to hit that bell if you want to get as many notifications as possible. And like I mentioned, full live reaction is available on the Patreon, and while you're there, you can also get yourself a video shout out like a few are about to get here. So we got Dwayne, Dylan Miles, and Edre Zahari. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.